the picture settle down? It goes a little grainy when it first starts.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I can see. Yeah, but I think it's coming in a little bit crisper as it goes. Yeah.
Yeah, good. Cool.
Yep,
Let's
good.
do this.
Cool.
It's been a while, so let's get some energy going. All right.
All right.
So, all right. Hi guys, welcome to Tea with Mike, episode 33 with Zane. Welcome to the show, Zane, and
Thank
cheers.
you very much, sir. I appreciate you having me on today.
All right, let's start with a little tea fact. So the tea fact of the day is tea is the national drink of both Iran and Afghanistan. And that comes from teahow.com. Again, welcome to the show, Zane. How's it going, man?
It is going good, man. It is kind of chilly day here in Central Ohio, but I can't complain because the sun's out. I'm getting some work done, so all is good, man.
Awesome, man. Like, what are you drinking in that cup?
So this is not tea. This is some brown sugared Starbucks coffee.
Oh.
In my Gary Vaynerchuk mug.
All right, that brings it back to an equal scale, because I'm not a fan of the coffee, but the mug, I'm like, yeah. That's it. All right, man, so why don't you tell the Tea with Mike audience a little bit about you?
Yeah, sure, I'd love to. So my name is Zane Campbell. I live in Central Ohio. I am 24 years old. Basically took the normal everyday route as most people do with life, I guess you could say. Went to high school, played sports, went to college, played sports, graduated with a criminal justice degree, got out of college, and at that time I got out of a really long-term relationship, so it kind of broke my heart, and I decided that I didn't want to pursue criminal justice anymore. So for about a year and a half to 2 years, I kind of bounced around from job to job doing some like valet stuff. I worked at Kohl's. I worked at a few other places. I don't even remember. And then I finally got set up with a job by one of my friends in the Domino's Corporation. So to make a long story short, I worked for Domino's for 2.5 years, running a few different stores. And was making some really good money, but I was really depressed at the time just because I was working 90 plus hours a week at the age of like 20, 21, 22. Yeah. And yeah, I just had no life. And I knew that I wanted to make a change, and I actually wanted to do something that would benefit me rather than benefit somebody else. So I wrote down, as the trash man pulls up in front of us here, I wrote down my 5 favorite things that I could do every single day for the rest of my life. And I literally started a business from those 5 things. And today I own 2 businesses, Z Company Racing, which is auto racing, and sneeze. No, you're not. Allergies. Z Company Media, which is my video production, photo editing, digital marketing agency. So now I do both of those. And yeah, I'm happy as hell. So that's pretty much my life right now.
Awesome, man. So let's roll it back a little bit. So
Sure.
you kind of similar to me in a lot of ways, which is what makes it like this quite interesting. So you started off on a very like traditional route.
Yes. Yep.
So what was it that made you decide to go to university, and why criminal justice?
So growing up, I always had a love for just policing, criminal justice, FBI stuff, CIA stuff. So I instantly already had a love for that. And as I continued throughout high school, I was like, I think that this is something I could do for the rest of my life. My mom wanted me to do it, and my girlfriend at the time also wanted me to do it. So I was like, I think this is a good place. So I jumped in with that. And since the middle of sophomore year of high school, I knew that that's what I was going to do. So yeah, I decided that was it. I went to a college right by my house so I can still live at home, save some money, not get in massive debt. I still played sports there, and I went through college and did my degree with the criminal justice department.
And okay, and then so at what point was it like, this isn't quite like what you mentioned at Domino's, but like,
yeah,
what was the point when you fully realized you just wanted to do something different?
So the point was, I was living with my girlfriend of about 2.5 years, and it was right around the time of graduation. And the relationship just ended at a very non-expected point, just very abrupt out of nowhere. And honestly, I think that kind of started me into my depression stage, because I was still like, I consider myself young then. I was 21. And to me, that's, you're still learning about yourself and learning about life. And I didn't really know how to handle it, because that was like my first massive breakup, like really big breakup. So I kind of went into like a solid depression, honestly, just because I didn't really know how to be myself. I was so dependent on being with her and spending time with her that when it came time to me, I didn't really know how to do it.
Just
So I just decided that I wanted to not pursue that anymore, just because for some reason I attached criminal justice with that relationship, and that was like one. And when this broke off, this one just so yeah, that's kind of how that occurred.
nice, man. And then, so you mentioned that you played a lot of sports. How did you get
Yep.
how did you get into car racing?
So basically, growing up, my grandpap, I'm talking back in the day, like in the 50s and the 60s, he was into auto racing, and he raced NASCAR. And so he always had like a massive car interest. When he got married to my grandma, both of them have now passed, but when they got married to my grandma, she said, either you continue racing or you don't marry me, or you can marry me, because it was one or the other, because she was too worried about him getting hurt, because obviously back in the day, auto racing was extremely dangerous because deaths happened on the weekly. So he decided, okay, I'm going to marry you. So he left auto racing, married her. And then from there, it turned into, he became a really, really, really good auto mechanic. And he did that for years. So when I was then born, I was around him a lot. I was attached to him, and he was a massive auto mechanic in Pittsburgh who did a lot of work and did a lot of auto stuff. So like my love of cars kind of came from him at a very, very young age. So I grew up around cars. When he passed away in 2002, I was only about 7 years old, and I don't want to say I lost the love for cars, but I never lost it. I just wasn't around it like I used to be.
Mm.
And then as I got older into high school, like my love for cars was like coming back, and I started going to more car shows, and I was like, man, I just love cars so much. And it happened one day, kind of where I knew I wanted to get into auto racing was actually the day that Paul Walker died, which was November 28th of 2015, I believe, either 15 or 16. I believe it was 15. And I have him tattooed on my wrist here. But when he died, because Fast and Furious was always my favorite movies, like all of them, every single one being my favorite because it was the original, obviously. And when he died, I was like, man, I really want to get into auto racing. And at the time, I wasn't in Domino's yet. I was still semi young. I just graduated high school, I believe. I can't even remember the year exactly what it was. But regardless, yeah. So once it came time for me to do my own thing and do what I wanted to do, then I was like, okay, auto racing, this is what I'm going to do. So I went, and when I left Domino's, I got my racing license down at Skip Barber in Atlanta. And when I got my racing license, I bought my car, which is right there. But it was just a stock, normal, everyday Mini Cooper. And then I put a lot of money into it, sunk a whole ton of cash into it, turned it into a race car, entered it into a bunch of different racing events, and started racing. In 2017, I raced local, like in the area. I would just drive the car to events, participate, and do that. And then last year was my first time full-time all across the USA. So I bought a truck, I bought a trailer,
Crazy.
put the car in the back of the trailer, and I was driving from Ohio to Atlanta to Florida to Alabama to Texas, just all across the country, just having a great time. And I did last year full-time. But unfortunately, last year it was just super like racing itself is just when it's one of the most expensive sports you can get into.
Mm.
and it was just so expensive that this year I literally just couldn't do it. I still own my business and I still plan on racing, but that's why I'm doing this year. I'm focused on my media stuff. I'm focused on my video production, my digital agency, um, to make that money so I can get back into racing. Now I was making good money last year from racing, but the problem was I was spending more than I was making just because it's so expensive to race.
Crazy.
Yeah. So now this year is just fully focused on marketing and all this stuff. Maybe next year as well. I'm not quite sure. I need a good $100,000 excess type of money to where I feel comfortable getting back racing again, because I spent easily 130K last year just in a few months, and I need at least 100K excess to where I'm like, okay, if I were to lose this money tomorrow, I'm still okay.
So
So once I get that back, then I'm going to be back out full-time racing. But until then, it's just all about trusting the process and doing what I need to do to get back there and going one next step, one day at a time.
Great, man. So that sort of answers one of my questions. So you're really using this other company to help fulfill your racing dream. Is that accurate?
That is 100% accurate. The great thing, though, is that I absolutely love this media. I love this video production work. I love all of it. And it's opened up opportunities. It's opened up new friendships. It's opened up just new networking opportunities. For those of you that don't know, I just got back from Los Angeles and I shot a $50 million mansion in Beverly Hills, which was an unbelievable time. And I was able to meet some really, really cool people. I was able to network. I was able to just gain experience on something new, which was shooting real estate, and which I've never done. I made a really good friend in Enzo, who I think you know Enzo a little bit from social, do you?
He's a real estate broker, isn't he?
Correct. Yeah. Yep. So yeah, I met him and I became really good friends with him. And so if it wasn't for my media work and my production work, I would have not been able to have that opportunity or been able to meet such great people. So even once I'm back racing, I will still continue to do this because I love it. So those are kind of the two things. I guess the end all is where I can race full time and do media work full time. But in the meantime, I'm focusing on media. When media comes along, then I'll put racing back together and wish them all, and end of the story.
Yes, man. So rolling it back quite a few years. You
Sure.
mentioned that you had a piece of paper, a blank piece of paper,
Yep.
and you wrote down 5 ideas.
Yep.
Talk us through that, and how did you formulate those ideas?
Yeah. So pretty much, to be honest, I was sitting at my desk at Domino's. I had a really rough week at the store. My health actually wasn't good at the time. Nothing like crazy. I just had a really bad fever, and like I needed to go to the hospital. And I actually was unable to because I had to be at my store to continue to get the business running. So I was just really miserable, and I was sitting at my desk one night after close. Now the street sweeper decides to come by. I was just sitting at my desk one day after close, and I took out a paper and I was like, okay, what are 5 things that I could do every single day for the rest of my life and absolutely love it, regardless of how much money I'm making or anything like that? And that's a point that I'll touch on real quick, is the fact that at Domino's, I was making really, really good money, but I had no free time. Now my free time is everything I could want. Obviously I'm 100% in charge of my own schedule, but I'm also not making anywhere near as much money as I used to be. And I'm in debt now because of racing. But the crazy thing is that I am so happy that I literally could care less, just because I'm able to do what I love. And that's a huge proponent that I talk on now on my own stuff, is just that money doesn't matter. Happiness is what matters. So just a quick little piece there. But yeah, so I wrote down my 5 favorite things, which, if I remember correctly, and in no specific order, was racing cars, YouTube, which is something that I still do now. I do YouTube all the time.
Yeah.
I wanted to do media work and like video production work. I wanted to be able to play video games whenever I wanted, which I can do. And I want to get into streaming. I just haven't had the time yet. and music and sports. Those were kind of the last, like music, sports, and I guess working out were all kind of the last five. Um, so yeah, I mean, you already can see like YouTube and media and all that is kind of one now. When I make client work, it either goes to the clients or I use it for my own stuff as well. Racing, obviously what I talked about. Video games, I can play whenever I want. I typically like to write music and sing my music on Sundays. I did have a channel. I still do have a channel on my music, but I'm not putting it out right now. I'm kind of just focusing on other things, but I still enjoy the process of writing and doing that. So Sunday is kind of related to that. And then just working out and sports, that's like my stress reliever, because obviously no matter what you're doing, no matter how happy you are, we all have stress in our life. Yeah, absolutely. And working out, like just going to the gym, playing basketball, those are like the things that just are my stress relief. So that's my last thing. And I still play competitively in different leagues around Ohio, so that's pretty fun, and that's like stress relief as well. So yeah, those are my 5 things, and that's kind of literally how I just live my life now.
That's man. It was a while ago now, but I saw you posted a video of you singing, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah, I've posted a few. I used to post every single Sunday, and I just don't post as much anymore. Amazing. That's one of my goals. And then with the whole media production thing, I want to be able to have a good steady flow of income every single month that I can 100% rely on, knowing that like I have very good clients who believe in me and I believe in what they're doing. So rather than, make $5K this month, $500 this month, $10,000 this month, $1,000 this month, I kind of have more of a basis of structure. Now, of course, with business, you're going to lose clients, you're going to gain clients, yes, but just along a more of a kind of like a plateau baseline of what I can expect to make every month, and then be able to use that with racing and media. But my big thing is I just want to grow my client list, really try to grow my video production business. Honestly, like I feel like video production allows me to travel wherever clients need. So if I have a client, say in Beverly Hills or in Vegas, like I just had one, or down in Florida, and one of my big things that I absolutely love, which I actually left this off the 5 things of my favorite things to do list, or my passions list, as I call it, was traveling. But traveling is huge, and I am lucky to be able to travel a lot. So if I can continue to grow both of my businesses, continue to travel, and of course, I'm very family oriented. I just started dating a brand new girl, this first girlfriend since my last huge relationship that I was telling you about. So it's been like 4 years. But I just started dating a girl a little over a month ago, and so far things have just been fantastic.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I want to continue to build that relationship with her, and further on down the line, I want to be able to, send my kids to college if they want to go to college, and if they don't, then I want to have some money put away. So if they don't go to college, I can at least give to them, and they can have to start their life. I want to have a family, obviously. So those are all things that I really want in life, that are my goals. But at the same time, I'm not ready for a family or anything like that to settle, like to have a family life until probably around the age of 30. So I got about 6-7 more years yet, to where I'm just fully focused on continuing to build me and the business, and just go with that. I will say though, the one huge goal that I have right now, I guess it's kind of 2 huge goals that I do have right at this very moment, are get out of racing debt, because I'm still in debt from racing, like I said. So I want to get out of that debt like ASAP. And as soon as I do, I want to move out to LA, because I spend a lot of time in LA. I love LA. It's 75 and sun year round, not the cold stuff or right there. You guys don't have any sun right now. And I love that lifestyle of sunny every day, because it's happy, it's positive. It puts you on a good start to your day. Every day you wake up and it's sunny. So yeah, my big goal was right now, out of debt, move to LA, continue to race, build my clientele list, and just go from there. And those are kind of my big goals right now. And I also, I feel like one of the things I did wrong in the past was I had too many goals, and I was trying to focus on them all at once, rather than just focus on 1 or 2 goals at a time and build up the ladder. So rather than focus on all of my goals at once, it's like, okay, get out of debt. Okay, go to LA. Okay, build a client list. Okay, get racing. And it's all like a step ladder to the end. You know what I mean? So.
Because that's always a big question that people debate. Is it good to have just one goal, or is it good to have lots of goals?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think, honestly, I feel like it's kind of everyone's different in their way. You have to find what works best for you, because not everybody's different. Some people work best when they've got a lot of things laid out in front of them. I do, but when it comes to my goals, I think that 2 goals max, honestly. Like right now, I've got 2, like I said, right this very moment that I'm 100% focused on. Those are my 2 goals. It's out of debt, move to LA. Those are my 2 goals. Once that's done, then I'll move on to the next one. So I think to each his own, you just got to find what works best for you.
That's for me. I made a huge step the other week. Some circumstances in my life changed, but they weren't very good. But like I got in a car crash, unfortunately.
Oh,
but yeah,
goodness.
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Luckily, I'm okay. So was the other person, which is the main thing. But I used it as now that I don't drive anymore. So I used it as an opportunity to reinvest resources into different parts of my life. So
okay.
I quit my second job so that I could gain more time to work on Tea with Mike.
Okay. That's good then. You're taking a negative situation, turning into a positive.
Yeah, and I just signed up for a bunch of social media and marketing classes for like LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
That's awesome.
Social media agency. So those start next week. So
awesome. Well, congratulations on that next step. That's a big step there.
Yeah. So and then just keep building the show is I think my main goal right now. I've had offers from lots of different people. Oh, come help me sell mobile phones. Come get into the stock market, and a lot and similar things. But they just don't interest me.
Don't do it if you don't love it.
Right. I know there's money to be won and lost in stocks, but that's just not how my brain functions. So I'm not going to waste any time.
Absolutely, totally agree with that for sure.
Yeah, man. So that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Well, I think that's more people need to think like that, because so many people are negative and just they just have a negative demeanor about them, and then something negative in their life happens, and rather than approach it with how can I learn from this, how can I get better from this, how can I attack this at a new way, what lessons can be learned, they're just get mad, and then they just don't think about what they have the new possibility of. Like, you could have very gotten a car crash, you could have been ticked, taken no steps towards your future, but you made the right choice of, okay, this is what I'm trying to do. This happened, so from this, I'm going to do this, and now you're getting more time with Tea with Mike, and you get more free time to work on other parts of your business. So I think that's a very good thing.
Yeah, you don't realize until life kind of flashes before you that the life is also short, and you need to make the most of every single moment, because
absolutely, anything can happen at any time.
Circumstances could have been completely different from luckily how they ended up, right? So
absolutely agree with that.
The demonstration that you need to take advantage of every single day.
Completely agree. And I think it's funny because I think, including myself, I struggle with, but one of the things I know that Gary Vee is big on is life in the macro is very, very long. But at the same time, you need to live it as it's short, because the micro, you could die at any second. So you need to live life as if it's short, but realize that, say you are, and this is something that I think about when it comes to YouTube. I'm 24, and if I think, okay, I'm going to be spending the next 75 years of my life making YouTube videos and things like that, that's a lot of time to improve. That's a lot of time to gain subscribers. That's a lot of time to better quantify my work. Yeah. But if I sit here and say, oh, well, I'm only doing YouTube for the next 2 years, that's not as much time. So then it seems like it's a rush. But in reality, people don't realize, if you have your passion and you know what you're going to be doing, you have your entire life. Now, yes, that life can be very short, and you need to live it as it's short. But at the same time, you need to realize that if you're doing this for the next 75 years, that's a long time. Nice,
man. And as we move towards the end of the episode, do you any pieces of advice that you want to, or lessons that you've learned from your journey so far, that if you were picking one that you want to share?
Yeah, and I think it's kind of what I touched on earlier. Happiness is what matters. It doesn't matter. Money doesn't matter. Do what you want to do. Whatever it is that you're passionate about, that's what you need to do on a day in and day out basis. Don't pay attention to what others want you to do. Even if it's your parents, you can take the advice, do whatever it is that you want. But at the end of the day, if it's not making you happy, then don't do it. I think life is too short to not be happy. So, and if you don't know what you want in your life, then as I said before, you just need to keep trying new things and trying new things. You're going to fail, but failure is just your future success defined in a different light. So just because you failed right now doesn't mean you're going to fail tomorrow. And that failure that you just went through is just your future success in different disguised form. So ultimately, I just say, don't worry about the money. Do what makes you happy. As long as you can have enough money to survive doing what you're doing right at this very moment, that's all you need to worry about. Everything happens for a reason. So just keep on trusting that process of what you're doing, and eventually doing what makes you happy in the long term will pay dividends rather than doing something that you're going to be miserable doing for the rest of your life.
Awesome, man. Thanks for being on Tea with Mike, episode 33.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you having me.
Awesome, guys. So this was Tea with Mike, episode 33. This was Zane. He was amazing. Make sure you watch this episode. I'll leave links for his social media when I post it. Thanks, Zane. Have a good day, man.
Thanks, man. You too.